Good afternoon and welcome to All About Animals. I'm Sherry Gratitor and I've only got one guest today, and that's my dog Churi, who decided it was her chance to be on television too. Normally I have a guest and we talk about wonderful things having to do with animals and animal care. Today I take the microphone myself because this is my It's Almost Christmas show. And there are so many things about Christmas that are beautiful and wonderful. And there are things about Christmas, well, it's okay, Churi, you can leave. There are things about Christmas that you need to be aware of. So many people think that Christmas is the ideal time to give a pet as a gift to their children, or even as a gift to themselves. A kitten or a puppy, or a dog or a cat coming into the house, and Santa brought you a gift for Christmas, and it sounds wonderful. And as you know, I dedicate a lot of my time to finding homes for wonderful homeless dogs and cats. But Christmas is the worst possible time to bring an animal into the house, and so I decided to exercise my prerogative to take over the camera for a little bit of time and talk about why it is not a good idea to give a dog or a cat as a Christmas gift at Christmas. The easiest and the first one, of course, is you never give a living creature to someone else who's a non-member of your family. You don't give a dog to your friend. You don't give a dog to your fiancé unless you're pretty sure that A, she wants it, or he wants it, B, they can have it, and C, it's the appropriate gift. The little puppy that you see that is so cute and it just makes your heart warm, or the little kitten who's absolutely adorable, may not be what somebody else wants in their home. And even if they want a dog or a cat, that may not be what they would have chosen for themselves. So the number of animals that get returned after Christmas to animal shelters is heartbreaking. These animals that are in cages and just waiting for the chance to get out, just waiting for the chance to be someone's special pet. And they get out and they're ecstatic. And they're out for a week or 10 days or 2 weeks, and they go back to the shelter because it didn't work out. It's not what they wanted. It's too big. It's too small. The landlord won't let me have it. There are dozens and dozens of reasons why giving an animal as a gift to someone else is not a good idea unless that someone else is with you and chooses his or her own pet. Going a step further with that is giving a puppy, a kitten, a dog, a cat to your kids for Christmas. There are so many things in a home during the holiday season that are dangerous, if not deadly, that when you bring an animal in, it's just not a good fit. Mistletoe, poinsettia are toxic. Animals will chew on plants and die. The cord from your Christmas tree, animals will chew on that and electrocute themselves. Tinsel, ornaments that can break, that are glass and thin, can kill an animal. Cats have been known to swallow pieces of tinsel and have them impact in the gut. Dogs as well. I mean, let's face it, puppies and kittens especially will teeth on anything they can get their little sharp puppy teeth on. And oftentimes the things you have in the house just aren't good for them, just aren't safe for them. You'll have a dish of chocolates on the table. Chocolate is toxic to dogs and to cats. There's just so much. You bring an animal into the house, the kids are excited for whatever brief period of time they're excited for, and then they've got other toys and they've got to show their friends, and Aunt Martha's coming over and we're going to Uncle Fred's house for dinner, and there's a party over here and there's something over there. And with all the activity that's going on, a new animal that doesn't know your family, doesn't know your house, is either ignored, forgotten, or doesn't get the peaceful, quiet bonding time that that animal needs with the family. I know that Save a Pet tells me that this year they have gift certificates. You can give someone a gift certificate for a dog or a cat. if you're dealing with kids, it's so easy to say, here's a card with a picture of a kitten or a dog or a cat. Santa is looking for just the perfect animal for you. It's going to take him a little while, because right after Christmas, when things quiet down and people are at home, is a great time to bring an animal into the house. When you have time for it, when you have the lack of distractions for it, but also when those toxic and dangerous things are no longer in the house. So if you're going to have your tree up, dogs have been known to chew on pine and get pine needles impacted in the intestine. Lights and electricity, just all of it is just so, so dangerous to an animal, and especially an animal that really doesn't know his way around. He doesn't have a chance to learn to love you, and you're not going to have a chance to learn to love him, which is why it's so easy when things get a little bit rough or rocky, as they always do, or almost always, when a new animal comes into the house. It's easy to take that animal and say, it didn't work out, we're giving it back. And that impacts the animals terribly. That's such an emotional shock for an animal that's in a shelter, and sometimes we don't know why they're there. Sometimes they were running stray. Sometimes they've been brought in from other shelters that were kill pounds, and they've been brought in to be rescued. But oftentimes they're there for very sad reasons. Someone has moved and couldn't take his pet. Someone has died and no one in the family was willing to take over that pet. These are animals that have known love. These are animals that they've been part of a family. And then all of a sudden they are bewildered, they are lost, they're in a cage, they're surrounded by barking dogs, or they're in a room with bunches and bunches of cats. But the people that they loved, that piece of their hearts is gone. And they don't know why. And so they're carrying that baggage of grief into the holiday season right now. All of them are. For whatever reason, the majority, all isn't fair, but the majority of the animals in a shelter are animals that at some time or another knew what it was like to have a special person, to have a God, to have someone to worship and adore and care for and be with. And they didn't do anything wrong. They didn't do anything bad. Or sometimes they did something that was just a little bit naughty, but they didn't know it was. And they don't understand why they're back in a cage. Saddest, saddest thing in the world. The last thing, and probably the most important, which is why I left it for last, and I hope you're still listening, is before you decide to bring a pet into the house, are you sure that you want a pet in your house? Are you sure that you can handle the vet bills? You can handle the food bills? You can handle tripping over the dog in the dark at night when you're on your way to the bathroom. Happens around this house all the time. Cherry happens to be black and we don't see her. There are limits on your personal freedoms. You can't just take off and be gone for 14 hours if the dog needs to be walked. So there are lots of things that come into bringing an animal into your house. And an animal is a soul. It's a living being with feelings, full of love, full of care. They are just wonderful. But they can be hurt. And when they're rejected or abandoned or brought into a shelter, it hurts them. It's terribly sad for them because they've lost the stability of the family unit and the love that they used to have. Before you decide to get a pet, Christmas, New Year's, Easter, the 4th of July, whenever it may be, before you decide to get a pet, be sure you know the responsibilities that you are accepting by doing so, the expenses that you will deal with by doing so, and only at that point, when you're sure that this is what you want, And I got to tell you, I spent a lot of time finding wonderful dogs and cats, beautiful homes. And I would not know what to do without a dog in my life. I would not know what to do. My house would be so empty without pets that I wouldn't want to be here. They fulfill a big piece of me, and the love is unconditional. It's always there. They're always there for you. And I got to tell you, they somehow know when I'm sad, they know when I'm happy, they share those feelings with me. It's a wonderful, beautiful thing to have. But there's a time for it. Christmas is not that time. And there is a place for it, and that's the place where people are ready and willing to have an animal, to love an animal, and to share their lives with that animal. If those terms are met, then please, the shelters are full of wonderful dogs and cats, and they all need homes. The old ones, the frail ones, the healthy ones, puppies, kittens, they're all out there, and they're all looking for that special person that they can love. So if the time is right, and you know that you're ready, there's no better feeling than bringing home an animal that would have no home but for you. They're out there. I also want to add for a very quick 2 minutes, because this is another horse that I'm not going to ride today, that when you go into a pet shop, you're looking at puppy mill dogs. And if you're looking at puppy mill dogs, you're looking at dogs that are badly bred and oftentimes not well, but worse than that, you are encouraging an industry that uses animals for gross profit with absolutely no concern for their well-being. Go get a shelter dog. They're wonderful. Go get a shelter cat. They're beautiful. Get your kids a Christmas present 2 weeks after, 3 weeks after Christmas is over. Bring a loving companion home. But do it sanely, do it wisely, and do it in a timely manner. You will be happier, your pet will be happier. And boy, I'll be happier. I wish one day I could walk into the shelter and there would be no dogs there looking for homes. I know it'll never happen, but the only way we can reduce those numbers is people like you. So do go out and adopt, but do it right. I thank you for listening to me. We will now go to Save a Pet and show you some of those wonderful, wonderful animals that are looking for homes.